What's up guys, it's the Devil's Talon here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how to dominate endgame in trios by VOD reviewing my own personal trio and everything that we did well and some things that we need to work on. But before I get into this VOD review guys, if you enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, as you can see on the screen guys, we have my POV. This is going to be from an arena match of trios. And the first thing I'm going to bring up is our early positioning. So we're going to talk about, we're sitting here on 4th zone waiting for half and half and 16, so not a stacker, but this is still fundamental trios. Some stuff that we do.
Yep. We got max rotate. I could shock us all in early.
Yeah, I think so. I think you do.
So good comms right there, like just when I'm telling them, hey, we could shock and get early because we have max rotate, we want to play as much as ahead. And we have height here, and we're going to retake height here just by moving ahead.
Here, I got Silver Surfer. I'm running height.
Chill taco, you got someone on you?
I pressure this opponent here to get him off my off my teammate.
You're good, Taco.
And so Klez landed as far back deep in height, and that allows us now to maintain height. And you're going to see we do everything in our power to make sure that we keep this high ground. We have the mats to do it. So we get here, we've used some of our mobility items, but Klez still has surfers, so he can establish. And the good thing is now we can sit here and look back for picks on the team that was underneath us.
That team already go? They just shocked.
And see, this is what shocking late can... That's the mistake that this trio makes when we capitalize. We end up getting a knock on one of these players. Because we decided to get ahead early and then already get established, we can hold this trio.
Keep pressure. Let pressure. Remember, watch your ass.
So,
Watch your ass.
I calmed to Klez. I'm like, hey, you need to watch your left side. It's wide open. And so, perfect. And then Taco gets a pick on one of the kids that shockwave late. Again, which could have been prevented if they had decided to move early and using that shockwave.
Silver Surfer thing, keep height.
Alright. Beautiful.
And so he says if it pulls, I'm going to use a silver surfer thing to keep height. And this is really smart from Klez here because it ends up actually pulling. So we end up split tarping. What we would do if we didn't have any extra mobility to get over to him, we could split tarp to keep height. This is fundamental in trios. We have a max pull, but Klez literally just, again, silver surfers over, which allows us again to get established and be ahead. So now again we're ahead on the whole lobby. And some really good crash pad usage by Taco, which allows us to get over there instantly. And again, now we're on high ground and ahead of everyone again. And we're not going to relinquish high ground for the rest of the game. This is absolutely fundamental to get over here.
Getting up to you.
Beautiful. Now we're up on high ground with two really good crash pads.
Everybody. Trio.
So you're going to see I'm going to be predominantly tarping and leading the way.
Yeah, front. Focus that team.
Fortunately for us, there is a ton of old builds over here,
All this
which allows us to save a lot of materials and make sure our stuff is reinforced.
Get to me. I'm so far ahead.
Yeah. Nice.
And so I pretty much lead the way for the rest in terms of tarping and getting ahead. Good comms for Taco. I give him a little pressure to give him time to connect.
Where'd he go?
And I noticed that there's all these old builds ahead.
I got another knock.
They're just sitting there frying back. I'm connecting, worrying about reinforcing.
I'm running low on materials. Just metal. All I got left is metal.
So comms, hey, I need if I'm gonna be tarping, I'm gonna need more materials.
Yeah, splitting.
Perfect. Excellent.
Gives me more hard, so now we have more utilization, and now we're just gonna sit on height and pressure everybody that we can.
Pulls off.
Pulls up. Someone else start.
I'm trying to get this tree out of the way so we have line of sight on our opponents down below. We get that, and then Klez starts to tarp. Taco starts, unfortunately, tarping over there.
We're fine. We're connected. Beautiful. Taco, get to us. Burning mats.
You can hear me calm and say, Taco, get over to us. You're burning mats. We could use those mats later, and so he crash pads over.
Keep going ahead. Don't get greedy.
You hear me say, keep going ahead. Don't get too greedy. We want to make sure that we continue to get ahead and hold and look back for angles.
Stay ahead. I'm gonna start tarping. You just tried.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna tarp. He said he had low mats, so I was like, okay, I'll take over tarping. You just worry about frying. I'm gonna
Pressure whoever you can. I have no AR.
I call him no AR. It's just
We're good.
No AR. Connecting.
nice. Connect to previous old builds right there as well. And notice how we still haven't relinquished height for the entire time. And us being on high ground allows us to save mats, one, but it just allows us to fry the rest of the, pretty much the whole entire lobby.
46 white right here.
Taco trying to get boogie bombs so good from high.
31 white. Continuing to tarp.
Notice how we're the team that's always on high ground and always just tarping ahead, always looking down. Now notice there's one person left, so we're like, I'm telling those guys to go down, and I'm going to continue pressuring from height. I calm, hey, don't get one pumped. We don't need turning this into an unnecessary situation. I shoot out that roof, and he gets popped up in the back, and it's an easy height. And what won us that game so easily was focusing on positioning early. Our positioning early allowed us to keep height, or allow us to continue having height and keeping it. We just made sure to play ahead, and that's what you have to do. You have to play ahead, look back, and make sure you're trying to get established early on a good position. And even if you have these max rotates, using sometimes your mobility to establish and get better positions that allow you to use your materials later on in the end game. As again, we were all pretty decently healthy without any of us having to drop down. So that is something again I want to talk about. Worry about your positioning early. It's going to reward you later on. All right, we are in another game, and you can see my POV. I'm going to kind of skip through more to later on, but I just want to, again, exemplify the point that positioning early is going to allow you to win these games pretty handily. Usually, it's going to give you an advantage, allow you to use mobility, and save your mats for later on. But notice how, again, one, we're on elevation. We're on this highest part of the mountain, but two, we are center zone for which I should believe either third or fourth. I'll have to give you a second, but we'll just see. Look what ends up happening. This is third zone.
This kid in the back.
So we're super close to fourth, and we're on elevation, so our positioning early pays off. We don't have to expend too many mats going in, and plus we're on elevation. We actually don't have to spend any mats other than us getting in. And so now we wait for the next zone to close, get whatever tags we can. And as you can see, the whole lobby's in there out expending mats, fighting, worrying about that stuff.
Perfect. Get in now. High doors. Prioritize height. Let's go. We need to get over this team now. I just got fucking fried.
I got fried, unfortunately, a little bit careless on my part, but it's okay. I take the big, but I want to tell them to get height because we need to prioritize it because, again, we have such a huge rotate. We can get this height again, and we've had height since third zone. And that's what prioritizing height could definitely do. So we're holding this height. I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm making sure that no one's coming from the backside. I did this previously. I just want to make sure that we don't get flanked. Because again, we have all these builds over here that I could just use and run back down when we need to. Notice again how there's still all these people chilling, hanging down low, and we're just basically already established in having materials. I have 6 crash for mobility. So again, positioning early on is going to make your end game so much easier. It's fundamental. It doesn't matter if this is a trio FNCS with a stack more end game. For those that prioritize position early on are going to get rewarded more, and it's going to make things a whole lot easier. You're going to expend less mats and not have to use as much mobility.
Nice. Get your finish.
Gets a nice, and again, they just kind of sit back and frag. We get a nice little pick.
Yeah, they're not staying up. Back on this.
Most people, so unfortunately we're out of AR ammo. That's the one thing we could have prioritized earlier, is getting more ammo boxes.
Not in zone.
Not in zone. Front.
So unfortunately now we're sitting here on height.
We're literally chilling.
And look at how everyone is all congested right next to each other. We're just chilling on high ground.
Max rotate, but we got so much rotation.
I could bounce to air if you want.
Yeah.
So we decide to bounce down.
I want us to keep height.
Bounce up and keep height. I stay up.
Perfect. I'm gonna stay.
And again, this is something very common. Again, look at it's basically splitting, and allows us to kind of create this, I guess, sandwich you will, with the lobby. If people try to tend to focus, say someone were to challenge the height, I could sit back and fry them from behind and create pressure for us to keep height. I just essentially, it's very, very common that you have 1 or 2 people go ahead, and then you eventually just meet up as the zone moves, which is exactly what's going to happen. We did it in the first game. Again, it's fundamental for these big team modes to do.
I can bounce y'all whenever.
I just don't have fucking anything to.
I know. I had such a fun.
we're kind of all shambles on AR from poor early game management.
Taco, you need to prioritize here. Prioritize here. You got kids ahead of you. I'm getting up right here.
And I get a nice little up ahead. And then I connect properly.
Get to me. He's in zone. Hold that kid. But we need to get ahead. Someone needs to get ahead. We're gonna be pretty decently high. Follow these old builds. Connect down.
So beautiful. We're sitting here on high ground again. Notice how everyone's sitting here low. We're just recycling old builds to get down.
Oh my god, got it.
I look back and
Killed one behind.
get a nice little fry on someone. That's late shambles again.
We just keep it
Easy.
high. Silver Surfer. There's. You
Try
have
to-
light? I can pressure if I have light.
So notice we drop down.
Literally have 40 bullets.
Duo underneath me. Pressure.
Pressure, you need to pressure this kid over
We need
here.
to go. I shocked.
So I shocked to get a little bit ahead. Unfortunately, that is a bug for some reason on controller. It sometimes just randomly throw. But I see this opponent down below. I decided to connect, and then I realized that you're gonna hear me comments like, "Oh look, we gotta get to the mountain.
We get up. We get up. We win.
Get up, we win." That's all we have to worry about. So we need to pressure this team that's right next to us, trying to.
Get up. That's all we care about. Getting up. We just pressure anybody we see.
And then look, it keeps going up more and more and more and more elevation.
Doing 32.
And so everyone else is going to be down low on scuffed. We've maintained this height. We have a decent amount of materials.
They're all gonna be fighting. We just stay ahead and look back and get
Right
whatever.
there, right there.
Right, dead.
Oh yes, bro, yes.
Red.
And then they get fried. And then it's the last two. But our position, again, is what allows us to make this so easy. Klez gets a knock.
All I have is shotgun left.
And then we're going to just, again, continue to go ahead and look back.
Told you, baby. I told you it's easy. No way.
And that's all for positioning on that mountain.
No way.
No way we lose it. It's exactly 100% correct. That due to the positioning early on, it allows us again to just maintain and keep height. We had height on that mountain since third zone. We had a short rotate to fourth, a short rotate to fifth, and everyone's pretty much down below shambles, having to go to elevation. We don't even have to worry about it because anyone that tries to shoot us out, we can just fall back right down on old builds and go right back up. And because of the terrain was so mountainous and it was going up, other team unfortunately had to expend a ton of materials, expend a ton of utility trying to get up, and that's what made it so easy. And again, positioning early on is what's going to allow you to get these easy victory royales where you feel like you really didn't have to do that much, because exactly we didn't. We just held height the entire time, let most of the lobby kill each other, get what picks we can, and get an easy victory royale. Alright, as you can see on the screen, we have another endgame from my POV. And we're sitting here on edge of fourth, hoping to get half and half.
Dead.
Oh, I cracked.
I got it.
Right here. Still kid on
And again, you're going to see from the mistake from this team, as you can see already, is not prioritizing position early.
Right's free.
Yeah.
So again, we get a max rotate. So again, we're immediately thinking, let's move, let's go.
Head west. If they're smart, they'll hold us.
Being aware of what's around you and what team's in front of you, you can see that team southwest. I'm worried that they may hold.
Get out of here. We'll be okay. They're shooting at him. Perfect. Hug as tight. Hug as tight as possible.
We want to hug as tight, bring as much distance from that team as possible, because they have the ability to hold us.
In the bush. In one of these bushes.
Really good awareness from Klez saying, hey, there's one of these kids in these bushes, and you're going to see how we deal with it.
Sure, bro. If it's a purple skin, then that's him. You see him.
Yeah, he's in here. Do you got a crash pad?
Yeah.
And so we basically, to clear the crash pad, we
Yep. Just solo. I got the wall.
He rooted.
Just get in.
perfect. And so we basically just stopped what could have been a major annoyance.
Not worth.
You just went in the zone. Oh my god, 32 points.
And then we get in, no problem, just from a good dead side rotate, understand?
I have no.
Got him.
And we eventually get that kill.
I put something on fire.
I got one of them right here. I'm pressuring. We're a little split. Kids behind me rotating. Focus.
I hear kids to my left, so I call them, hey, kids behind me rotating just to give awareness.
Might be a solo.
I'm watching. John, do you have any minis? Or any
I have 6. Yes, get to me.
Get to him. I got 2. Talon's got first zone.
I got first zone. I don't have.
So a good favorable zone, good easy nice zone. So I'm gonna then tarp.
I need brick. If you have anything, we're getting sprayed. Hold. Get back, Cliss. Get back. Perfect. All right. I need brick. Yeah, I can start tarping this ahead. I'm gonna start conserve jumping.
No, on the backside rotating.
I'm lagging everywhere. Holy shit.
62 here. Dynamo.
Okay.
Nice.
And so this is kind of where we end up making a mistake.
I'm just gonna play dead zone. 35 on 1.
Okay.
Oh my god.
We end up getting a little bit split here.
Try. I'm leading a tarp.
35.
Yeah, if you
They end up getting height and not telling me, and I end up just wasting a bunch of mats tarping that I didn't need to.
there's a guy in the tree, bro.
I'm most ahead. I'm gonna start conserving. I have 300 mats. I can't tarp
Really?
forever.
Alright, yeah. Go to. Wait, you can come up. Talon, you're wasting max. You're wasting max.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had high ground, so I wasted a bunch of mats tarping, so that's one mistake, but it's okay. I eventually do get up to them.
Back here.
Hey, Talon, we're up. There's a
Okay,
team
I'm.
right here.
Pressure this kid off second height, and then we get up tight.
Taco, get ahead. Get most ahead. I have 9 builds. That's it. Someone needs to start.
Yeah. Dropping mats here.
So perfect, they tarp ahead, and again, look, we're on high ground, and we're just gonna get the same thing. We're never gonna let it go.
I dropped and connected.
Excellent, good job from Klez. Hey, we dropped connected, so
I
reinforce.
see the guy, bro. Cracked it.
All right, I'm gonna continue to tarp. Okay.
Alright.
Crack 30, knock.
Nice. Got
So notice I again do this sideways tarp to go ahead,
It'll get.
and then allow to look back,
Knock one.
get a pick.
Continuing.
Oh, another one cracked.
Exactly, same thing. Notice how we're ahead and we're on height.
Running low on materials. 36 on this.
Have.
So comms again, letting know, hey, I need materials if you want me to continue to tarp.
Almost out of hard.
Here. Nice one right there.
Okay, exit. Good.
Probably-
Now we press.
So
press.
now we get in, look down, and pressure.
Right
And
here.
then I tell them to pressure this team in wood because
Fried wood. I got knocked down. I'm getting back up.
notice my comms are like, hey, I got knocked.
Again, I'm-
No way,
That ends
no
up
way,
serves
no
dual
way.
purpose because now we're connected to the
Goes back,
floor,
goes back.
I have no AR.
and it goes back.
I'm out.
So most of us
Right
again,
here.
same thing. We're low on AR.
In the air.
But again, notice it is the same thing. Look at us sitting back, looking for
Fried
picks.
and storm.
I might go down and look.
54. Don't go down. Go down not yet. It stays up as long as possible.
When I looked at the screen, I thought it said 6 left. I didn't see that those 2 people died in storm, and then it was a 3v1. So we played a little bit safer.
Dead. GG.
But again, playing ahead, looking back, looking at the same type angle, we were fortunate to have a zone here. We did a really good job. We could have played this one a little bit better. I could have saved more materials. But again, it's the same type principles. It's get up, hold it, get ahead, reconnect, look down for picks and pressure. And we've done that on all of those games. We ended up fragging out last night, getting a ton of victory royales, a ton of high placement games by just basically redoing the same type stuff. Winning our off-spines fights too helps, but we ended up getting in Champions Division over 1,200 points one night. It was definitely a lot of fun. So in summation of all of the matches that you saw, I want to talk about the things that led us to victory and just basically the 3 things that really helped us. And it is positioning early rewarded us later because 1, we didn't have to expend as many mats. We could save our mobility for when we needed it for moving zones, and allows us to keep height, which again allows us in itself to save mats because we don't have to use as much mats boxing up using all of that stuff as we move. So again, positioning early is going to reward you later on in the match. The second thing I want to talk about, which is very fundamental in trios, is again splitting on zones so you can send people ahead to establish high ground or better position, and one person can stay back, and then once the zone starts move, you can immediately link up and connect, do whatever you want to do in that regard. It is very common. It's even common in duos. You saw Chap and Av do that, so it's definitely something I would highly recommend. It allows you to keep height, and again, save mats if you need. If one use mobility, one just fly over there, whatever you need to do. But splitting is another big thing. And then the number one big 3, the third and final thing is getting ahead. Just getting ahead allows you to look back and get such easy angles, and you can see, as in most of the games, we would get ahead and then we would sit back, look for picks, one would get ahead, and every game that we got ahead, we stayed on height and we got a bunch of easy AR frags from the top without risking our health. Notice we were all alive for all 3 of our games. It was just really good, well played stuff. And again, something you can translate. You can get ahead and make sure, use your mobility, do whatever you can. Position early to reward later so you can keep height and dominate. Well guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.